Hello, everyone. It's Mega Champ again. Guess what? Yeah. It finally happened. In case you haven't heard by now, which most of you probably have. Oh, goody. I'm just kidding. They announced what I'm assuming is basically just Sony PlayStation's E3 replacement event. It's not exactly what I was hoping for. I was hoping for more something along the lines of a showcase, but of course it ended up being a state of play instead. So because of that, now I am incredibly worried. Goody, because when it comes to state of plays, I'll be completely honest, they're not great. They are not great. And even putting it that way is putting it extremely lightly. But we can always hope for the best. You never know, I suppose. But yeah, it's June 2nd, 6 p.m. my time, and you can convert that to your time unless you're in Pacific, which is right here. But basically, let's see. It's third party stuff. And this, which I'll talk about here in a bit. But, yeah, it's what they're doing for their E3 replacement event. So, I just thought I would quickly put out something to give my thoughts on what may or may not happen at this event. Which, I do have some hopes for, but when it comes to my hopes and state of play, they mix about as well as oil and water, so that tells you everything you really need to know, I suppose. But yeah, now believe it or not, despite what it may seem, I'm gonna try to be a little unbiased here, but take that however you want. But the most obvious thing is, of course, God of War Ragnarok, but I think it's a first-party game, and, like I said, this says, where to go? It's third-party stuff, so if God of War is first-party, which I'm pretty sure that it is, that means this won't be here. Oof. Rip. I mean, personally, I'm not a fan of this franchise, but I know it's really popular, and there are a lot of people that are. One of my Discord friends is a fan of the franchise, or of the new games that they've been putting out for this. Sucks for him, I guess, but if this is a first party, then yeah, I wouldn't bet on it being here because of it's supposed to be third party. I mean, I guess you never know. If they're going to do something for this, they might do something similar to what they did for Horizon and have its own little event where they show stuff off, but some stuff did come up for it recently about it possibly coming out in September, so I mean, time will tell, but we'll see. And now it's time for the main focus, of course. The one thing that I'm hoping is there. Some are saying it won't be, some are saying it will be. Of course, if it's not there, it makes you wonder where the hell it's at, because I just feel like Summer Game Fest isn't a big enough place for it to be, but I guess that's about the only other place it could be if it's not here, and come on, we all know what it is. Yep, Final Fantasy 16. So yeah, Final Fantasy 16. They are saying that there's supposed to be a trailer and that it's done and it's supposed to be shown sometime during the spring. Of course, when it comes to stuff, people promising stuff during spring, boy, that's totally not deja vu, I swear. But, hopefully it'll be here and hopefully it'll have a release date. I mean, believe it or not, I meant what I said before about how I honestly don't need anything else this year, especially with something coming up here, but it doesn't necessarily need to come out this year, but good God if it does. Good God, seriously. But hopefully it'll be one of the main focuses will be Final Fantasy 16. I guess either it will or it won't. I don't know what else they could show, and they're supposed to be giving something from Final Fantasy 16. It'll be either here or Summer Game Fest. I still feel like Summer Game Fest is not the best place for it, but I guess you could make that same argument for a State of Play, so I guess we'll see. I mean, my previous bold prediction was that this game would come out this year, and I'm not going to retract that, but I literally don't care if it comes out next year at this point. But if it comes out this year, oh God, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I mean, that's just brutal honesty. I don't know what I'm gonna do. We'll see what happens, but hopefully good old Final Fantasy 16 will finally show up again for the first time since it was initially revealed. The next thing that may show up here is actually an indie game that I'm actually looking forward to, which even me saying that sounds like a contradiction. But yeah, and that's of course the cat game. Come on, you know what the cat game is? Yeah, it's Stray. Come on, you play as a cat. You don't need to know anything else. But yeah, it's an indie game, and some stuff came up about it recently, about it potentially coming out in July. Because, July's not stacked enough as it is, but it is an indie game, obviously, but supposedly there's supposed to be Stray news, quote-unquote, soon. Love that word, soon, but we might get a release date for it here. Hopefully we will. But since I'm on the subject of indie games, yeah, you all know where I'm going with this. I didn't bring up an image for it this time, but if they're going to talk about indie games at this event, come on. Hollow Knight Silksong. Look, personally, I don't think it's going to happen. I don't even know if Silksong is coming out for any console that's not a Switch. But you just never know. You never know. Don't give up, Hollow Knight fans. But you don't want to leave any possibility out. Even if it's only a 1% chance, you don't want to just completely disregard it, because you just never know. You really don't. So if they're going to show off indie games, then, Stray is the most obvious, but Hollow Knight Silksong is a possibility, so let's not discount that. The other possibilities here is them either finally showing off or at least teasing Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2. They did say they were going to give some kind of Final Fantasy news in June for its 25th anniversary. It's not until late June, the actual anniversary, but they could just do it here. It might be the best place for it, again, unless they want to do it for Summer Games Fest or something at a later point, but it's so hard to tell when it comes to what Square Enix is going to do when it comes to Final Fantasy stuff anymore. They do one thing and then do the exact opposite the next. I'm not saying it's going to show up here. It'd be nice. We need some news, because it's been way too long since Part 1, and we have nothing for Part 2. It's definitely not going to be coming out anytime soon. My best guess is either 2023 or 2024, but if they're going to show it off, it would probably just be a teaser, unless they go all out with it, I guess. But you would think that Square Enix wouldn't want both of these things in one, event, state of play, whatever you want to call it, because, it kind of contradicts each other, because then they might become in competition with one another, and, obviously that's not what Square Enix wants, with there now being reports that Forspoken, which again I don't care about, but I know there are people who do, might get delayed again just so Final Fantasy 16 can come out, assuming it can come out this year. So it's so hard to really know or tell what they're going to do when it comes to this sort of thing, but either it'll be here or it won't. It would be nice, honestly. I wouldn't mind if it was to be shown here, because we definitely need something from it. Because it seems like Final Fantasy VII Remake is never going to actually be completed, because we don't even know how many parts it's going to be. So, yeah, that's the problem. But it could be here. Well, it could and it couldn't. And now it's time to talk about the elephant in the room, and that's, of course, this PlayStation VR 2. I don't really care about the VR stuff. I know, again, there are people who do. If you do, good for you. You do you. You have fun with that stuff. Not really my cup of tea, so to speak. This event does not say it's going to only be PlayStation VR 2, obviously, because it says third-party sneak peek at several games for VR 2. Now, how much of it will be VR 2 that's kind of the elephant in the room that I'm talking about, because we don't know if it's going to be half of it, most of it, some of it. I guess it could be all of it, but if it was all of it, they wouldn't say third-party partners. It would just be PlayStation VR 2. So I hope it's not all of it. Otherwise, we're in for massive disappointment. Or I am anyway. But, good God, don't be all of it. And also some other games that I'm not really a huge fan of and don't care for. But again, there are others who are. It's stuff like Spider-Man 2 and Wolverine. But Wolverine, the two Insomniac Marvel games, basically, but the Wolverine game, the last I heard, it was only in early development, and it doesn't even have a friggin' release date, so I don't think it will be shown off here, but again, you never know. And then Spider-Man 2 doesn't even have a release date other than 2023. Obviously, that is next year, but it's only May, so you would think it wouldn't be here, but once again, we don't know. You never know. They have to fill the 30 minutes with something, which is longer than State of Plays normally are. They're normally like 20-ish minutes, so this is longer than normal, which is interesting, but doesn't really make me feel any better, so, oh God. The last thing I'm going to talk about is Hong Kong, me being a clown. No, it's not Kingdom Hearts 4. They already said that Kingdom Hearts 4 is not going to be shown until after the normal E3 time, so... And that's something to do with the NVIDIA leak, which, tell me the NVIDIA leak is real without actually telling me the NVIDIA leak is real. So, yeah, it's, that one little certain remake that was in the NVIDIA leak. Okay, it's... So yeah, Final Fantasy IX. Yeah, Final Fantasy IX Remake was in the NVIDIA leak. I don't know what I would do if they would actually reveal this here. I might have to cry happy tears again. I don't know. I don't think it's going to happen, obviously. I mean, again, you can't, even if it's only 1% or 0.0000001%. What am I even talking about anymore? Good God. You would think that Square Enix would show all of their Final Fantasy stuff off at a Final Fantasy, anniversary celebration thing because it is Final Fantasy's anniversary this year. But who knows what they're going to do anymore. So the Nvidia leak is basically real, or it's pretty much real for everything that's been shown from it. But good God, if they confirm Final Fantasy IX Remake. Just good God. Seriously. I don't think it's going to happen. I mean, if you want to know what I think will happen here, it'll probably be Final Fantasy 16 Stray and that Silent Hill stuff that was leaked recently that got removed for copyright. They might show that stuff off here. I'm not sure what else, honestly. I'm sure it'll be something other than, the PSVR 2 stuff. What that is, I don't know. But I'd say to basically summarize, my main guess would be Final Fantasy 16, Stray, maybe Final Fantasy 7 Remake Part 2. I kind of doubt that. Since it's third party, I'm going to say no to God of War Ragnarok unless that's a lie, of course, cuz Sony, they're not really exactly hand in hand with the truth. So I mean, no company is, I guess, but still. And that's probably all I can know for sure, other than stuff that, I probably am not huge fans of or don't care about. But we will see. Time will tell. But the fact that it's a state of play is incredibly worrisome, and none of this could happen, and it could just be a complete waste of time. You know what? Let's just assume that. Let's just assume it's a complete waste of time. Oh, good God. I swear. Why did it have to be a state of play? Just do a showcase! Oh well. Time will tell. We'll see. I'll try to do a reaction thing for it. And hopefully it won't be, 80%, 90% of it being muted audio. I mean, I do have a way around that, but I don't know. We'll see. But hopefully, at the very least, it'll be Final Fantasy 16 with a release date. If that's all I get, I'll be good. I mean, honestly, even if it's just Stray with a release date, I'll be good. So, we'll see. Time will tell. Not exactly the Sony PlayStation E3 replacement I was hoping for, but it's what you get, I guess. I guess they only want to do showcases in September. But why, though? Oh well. That's all I got for you. We'll see what happens. Just, don't expect anything. Because I definitely don't expect anything from Digimon Survive. Because, of course, it's not going to be there. But we'll see what happens. Hopefully it'll be acceptable. Even saying that feels like a stretch, but if it's 30 minutes and it's their E3 replacement, they have to do something big. They have to. Unless they do throw everything at Summer Game Fest. But why would you do that? Summer Game Fest is mostly indie stuff. Or at least it was last year, but that was when E3 was still around, so that could obviously change. We'll see. Hope for the best, expect the worst, I suppose. So yeah. God, if they confirm Final Fantasy IX Remake. Not gonna happen, though. Alright, I'm done. I'm not good at this. Go watch the other people. They're better than me. This is MegaChamp saying next time I'll be providing you with more unlimited guidance. Play this game. You play as a cat. What else do you want? Okay, I'm done. Bye.